Oh, hey Ed, what's happening? I'm Michael James. Welcome to this week's Mix Minute episode. Today, Edward Donnelly is going to show you how to microphone one of these from a couple of different perspectives. So without further ado, take it away, Ed.
Ed Donnelly with another episode of the Mix Minute. I was talking to a friend a little while ago and mentioned that I was going in to track some dobro for an alt-country record I was working on. And he said, oh man, those things are so hard to mic. And I thought, well, no they're not. What are you doing? So it turns out he was trying to mic it similar to a traditional acoustic guitar. He had a condenser pointed at the 12th fret, shooting up sort of towards the headstock. And he was missing the best of what makes a resonator guitar sound like a resonator, and that's a resonator. So all the sound's kind of coming out of here. So I want to show you two ways to mic this. And depending on what you're trying to do and how it's going to fit in a mix, you could use either or you could always put both mics up and then decide later. So for the first round, if you look right over my right shoulder, I've got a large diaphragm condenser pointed down towards the cone. And you want to play a little bit with the distance between the mic and the guitar, as well as how far out over the guitar you're angled. Depending on what's going on in the room, you might want to make some adjustments. This is the general area of where you want it, right over that shoulder of the player. It sounds a little bit like this. So that's with the large diaphragm condenser. Now let's take a listen to when we use a small dynamic mic. All right, so I set up a dynamic mic. Got a Shure SM57, down low, pointed almost directly at the bridge, about 4 to 5 inches off of the strings. Kind of similar to the way that you would stick a microphone on a snare drum. So in this case, what you want to look out for is how the player's moving their hand. You want to make sure they have plenty of room, clearance, depending on their playing style. And this one, if I wanted something to kind of cut through, be a little bit more aggressive, a little grittier, this is probably how I'd choose to mic this. So that's the difference between the two different microphones. Both work great. Just depends on what you're trying to accomplish and what you're trying to capture. So I'm going to play you a snippet of a track from the Little Silver Hearts called Saddest Song that was done in this room with this guitar, and try to pick out which microphone it is that I used on this particular track. So here's the track I just mentioned. Take a listen and see if you can pick out which microphone it was.
I don't think I could ever go on. All I do is sing a sad song. I don't think I will ever forget. Will I go on alone with regret?
There we have it, Little Silver Hearts, Saddest Song, and what do you think it was? It was the large diaphragm condenser. I had it right over my right shoulder, just like we showed in the earlier part of the video, and that's what it sounds like. Very simple, sparse mix, by the way. And for those of you who've ever heard me say I never ever use reverb, I just proved myself wrong. That's it. How to mic a dobro 2 different ways. We'll see you next time.